Welcome to Ohio Roots, the official podcast of the Ohio Genealogical Society. Join us as we embark on a captivating journey through Ohio's rich genealogy, history, and abundant resources. Hosted by me, OGS Executive Director Noel Poirier, this podcast brings you insightful conversations with a diverse array of guests, from OGS members, chapter leaders, and staff to renowned genealogists, historians, and influential figures within the genealogical community. Each episode delves into fascinating topics and captivating stories. So grab your headphones, hit that play button, and join us on this enthralling journey of Ohio's roots. Discover your roots and light up your genealogy. Join us for the Ohio Genealogical Society's annual conference, April 30th through May 3rd, 2025, at the beautiful Kalahari Resort in Sandusky, Ohio. Learn from top genealogy experts, explore groundbreaking research techniques, and connect with fellow family history enthusiasts. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned pro, this is the must-attend event for discovering your story. Visit OGS.org to register today. That's OGS.org. Let's light up your family history together. OGS, connecting families, past and present. My guest today on the Ohio Roots podcast is Jim Beidler. You might remember Jim Beidler from episode 12 of the Ohio Roots podcast, but also from your own interactions with him in the genealogical community over the years. When we had him on episode 12, we talked about Jim's background in genealogy and also about the Genealogical Society of Pennsylvania. In this episode, I wanted to talk to him about the OGS Conference coming up in the spring of 2025, where Jim will be one of the many presenters. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Jim Beidler. Well, Jim Beidler, welcome once again to the Ohio Roots podcast. It's been about 20 plus episodes since the last time we spoke to you. How are you doing?
I am doing well, and I'm delighted to be back as a guest.
Great. I really appreciate you doing this with us again. Since we talked in your first interview about kind of how you got started in genealogy and your genealogical roots, and I would encourage people to go back to episode 12 and they can listen to that if they like. What I thought we'd talk about instead today was kind of your early Ohio influences in terms of what got you interested or involved in Ohio genealogy.
Yeah, well, one thing is I have to give a nod to Alyssa Powell from the Pittsburgh area, who she started going to OGS conferences way before I did, and she encouraged me and I would say Pennsylvanians in general that this is a great regional conference, and it's worth your time going west of us.
Yeah.
I was a member of Palatine's to America, which of course is based in Ohio.
Sure.
Fairly early in my my genealogical time, and I have an especially fond memory of the late Dr. Arda Johnson, who was a linguistics professor as her day job. And was a genealogy speaker. She wrote a couple of monographs on phonetics of German names, things like that. I saw her only once, I think, live as a speaker. She had an endearing but crusty kind of delivery. And I remember. Two short stories in particular. One where she was imparting how you don't stop researching once you found what you think you're going to find, right, but be prepared for surprises. And the example she used was in one German parish or another, where a guy and his wife, Katerina, had what appeared to be a dozen children, which is not super unusual, sure, not out of the ken of imagination. And this person, I guess she was doing research for hire for them. They had found a marriage of this Jacob and Katerina. And she said, now you might think, if you stop there, then you might think all the kids were of this Jacob and Katerina. Then she reveals the next slide, and the guy actually had, over his lifetime, 4 wives named
Wow.
Katerina.
Wow.
Yeah. So you had only a 1 in 4 chance as a descendant to have the right maternal line on that.
That is
And
a
the
very
other,
busy man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's the unfortunate reality that
Right.
women. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no picnic today being pregnant.
Right.
But back in the 1700s, oh my goodness. And yeah, and then the other story of hers that I remember is shorter and a showstopper. Somebody came up to her and said, I've been stuck for 30 years because whatever I do, and this was years ago before internet tools, but
Mhm.
it's saying I can't find where this town Großherzogtum Baden is. And Arda just looks at the person and says, "Well, that's because Großherzogtum means Grand Duchy, so it's not a village. It
Right.
means the Grand Duchy of Baden."
Awesome. So a little German translation would have been helpful.
And that's know what these words might mean.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's great. Now, you've attended a number of OGS conferences in the past, and you've presented at a number of them. What is it kind of in your mind that makes an OGS conference kind of endearing and worthwhile? Honestly.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like there's a real consistency of
Hmm.
planning.
Hmm.
While you rotate the chairs around,
Sure.
there does seem to be a core group that
Right.
sticks with it. And that's good because too many operations that I've seen over the years, that they get a team together for 1 year and then it pretty
Right.
much collapses
Yeah.
after that.
They realize how much work it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can't blame the people.
Yeah.
I give medals to that core of people
Yeah.
you have in Ohio. But over time, they've just really become good friends. And
Yeah.
I'll admit, some of them I may even know only by face and not by name, but they're always, "Hey, Jim."
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when we came back after the pandemic, which I'm trying to get my years right here. I think it was 2022.
2022 would have been the first, I think, in-person one after
Yeah,
the pandemic. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I didn't even get into the the conference site
Hmm.
before somebody in the parking lot was saying hi, and of course asking me a question about a
Right. Right.
Pennsylvania death certificate. I hadn't gotten across the lobby to the exhibit area with more things where another person is telling me, "I'm going to have to see you later because I have some German I need translated."
Right. Right.
It made me really feel very 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 special
Yeah.
and like, yeah, these are my tribe, these are my
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I find one of the attractions, obviously those of us who do this kind of work enjoy the social aspect of it,
Yeah,
and the ability and the time we have to share stories and interact with people. And I know whenever I'm taking a break between programs at an OGS conference and I'm sitting in the hallways at those sofas, you can't not have a conversation with somebody about their latest project or what they're working on. And
absolutely.
I think we found how much we needed that after the pandemic. We still needed that interaction. You'll be presenting this year, of course, at the 2025 OGS conference at Kalahari in Sandusky. Let's talk a little bit about some of the programs that you're going to be presenting there for us.
Yeah, sure. Well, the one that uh, I've pretty much created specially for the conference
Hmm.
is called German Genealogy on the Web:
Okay.
Databases and Guides Big and Small.
Okay.
And in part that's keyed to the fact that later in 2025, I'm going to be debuting a second edition of my book Trace Your German Roots Online.
Okay. Great.
And the first edition of that came out, I'm going to say 2016.
Okay.
So anything internet based,
Right.
that's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
And there's so many more databases, tools, things to work on.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for most people with German speaking roots is find the village in Europe that they came from. It's
Right.
not always in Germany.
Mhm.
It sometimes was never in Germany. But so that I'm going to be giving a good update on.
Yeah.
Then
Let's.
I also have.
I'm sorry, Jim. I
Okay.
just want to, because you talk about it, because I can imagine from 2016 to 2024, how we just know how the internet changes, daily, and how new technologies like AI come into effect. And I would assume within doing German genealogy, that's a component of what people are doing now in terms of translations. It kind of gets to your story even, of being able to look at things and maybe use AI as a tool.
Oh, I'm not an early adopter of AI. I'll
Right.
admit.
Yeah.
I mean the certainly uh, there are now opportunities in translating,
Sure.
but it's still very rough,
Yeah.
because especially because um, you're not in both handwriting
Hmm.
and in printed records, you're dealing with different scripts, different fonts,
Right.
different alphabets, as far as some
Yeah.
of the letters, and even OCR of newspapers, optical character recognition of German language newspapers that are in a Fraktur font up until the 1930s,
Hmm.
is still very much hit and miss.
So it's nice to know that people are still involved.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Ask my colleague Catherine Catherine Schober, who
Yeah.
trades as Germanology Unlocked, and translation is her
Right.
big thing,
That's great.
and she'll tell you, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing for AI, I think, for all of us right now, is that family searches full word translations
Sure.
of the or transcriptions rather of a lot of the probate records, a lot of the land
Yeah.
records, and so forth, because that is uncovering a lot of hidden names.
Great.
So there definitely are AI applications that are going to be helpful. But as far as German records, for the most part, I'd say what Judy Russell says about various aspects of DNA. It's not soup yet.
Hi, this is OGS Executive Director Noel Poirier, and I'm cordially inviting you to stay home, put on your comfiest pajamas, and do not attend our annual no-show ball. That's right, no fancy clothes, no parking hassles, no small talk. Just the satisfaction of supporting a great cause from the comfort of your couch. And what's on the agenda for this year's no-show ball? Absolutely nothing. No dinner to dress up for, no speeches to sit through, no dance moves required. But don't worry, while you enjoy your evening off, your generosity will be hard at work supporting the Ohio Genealogical Society. And this is how you do it. You stay home. You literally do anything else, and then you donate. And you can donate today at www.ogs.org/donate and use the 2024 No-Show Ball cause as your selection. No babysitter, no problem. No shoes, no problem. Thank you for not attending the No-Show Ball, but thank you for supporting the Ohio Genealogical Society. So you're also doing one on the colonial Heiske family. Am I saying that correctly?
Heister.
Heister family. But yeah,
Yeah.
what's that one going to be about?
Yeah. Well, this is my mother's surname line.
Okay.
And this is the only line that before I went into research that we knew back to the immigrant, because they
Okay.
were locally famous in Berks County, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
One member of the family became governor. There were several congressmen and so forth. And it's an interesting story. They came from a town, Elzhoff, in the former Grafschaft of Wittgenstein. It's about, say, an hour north of Frankfurt in a pretty
Okay.
remote area. And they were among probably a third of the German emigrants in the 1700s
Mhm.
who did not seek legal manumission from their feudal obligations before they left.
Hmm.
So that the irony of contrasting back then versus today is back then there was no such thing as illegal
Right.
immigration, but
Sure.
there was illegal emigration
Right.
because the people of these small German lords they were their capital,
Hmm.
so they required an exit tax and so forth. Whereas the Heasters they just took off. They stole some pigs under the cover of night, and they ended up getting to Rotterdam and ships that came across the water in the 1730s. My title includes illegal immigration, bricks, slaves. The bricks are that one of the three immigrant brothers became a brick maker, and there are
Okay.
at least two houses of his that he built in the 1750s, latter half of the 1700s,
Okay.
that are still standing.
Wow.
And they are an example of enslavers among the Pennsylvania Germans, which is
Hmm.
a topic that hasn't over the years. You can find literature all over the map. Pennsylvania Germans didn't enslave as much as the Quakers, or they did more than So
Right.
this is part of my research in trying to get kind of the rest of the story. I mean,
Mhm.
we know that there were not huge plantations.
Right.
The type of agriculture they were doing was not the super labor intensive like in the southern United States, but it was not uncommon for them to have one half a dozen enslaved people, working.
Right.
From what I've done so far, forges and furnaces, the early
Mm,
industries,
sure.
they had the largest numbers of enslaved people. Farmers usually it's like one or two.
Right.
So it almost seems like they were a supplement to the kids in the household
Right. Right. Right.
who probably were 6, 8, 10 kids who were working on the farms.
Mhm. Um, Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jim.
Oh, well, I don't know if you want me to cover my third
Yeah, please,
topic.
please, please do. I was just about to ask about it because I thought that was. I'm curious because we talk about taxes all the time nowadays,
Yeah.
and so the idea of using taxes and tax records, we know we can use those to trace people's lives. But I'm curious as to what the angle is for your presentation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's titled Pennsylvania Taxes, Commonwealth's Best Residential Records, and the several little takeaways. One is that for a lot of the early eras, there is good
Mhm.
survival in general of these tax lists. That's the
Right.
first thing
Right.
that makes them valuable. But also, in a lot of instances, there's not just one tax list for a year because there would have been a Commonwealth tax and
Hmm.
there would have been a county or more local tax. And they might be taxing different things. So therefore, the data included in those lists may be different. It's just like any genealogy record group. Too
Right.
many times we stop. Just like finding one marriage record for Jacob and Katerina, and
Right.
assuming that's the only marriage.
That's it. Yeah.
We find a death certificate, and we don't also get the church burial. Whatever. I'm
Hmm.
digressing a little bit
That's
here.
okay.
But for taxes, same sort of concept to make sure you have every potential list,
Yeah.
and they will usually list an acreage amount. They will list uh, personal property items like horned cattle or like horses. or that were considered personal property, enslaved people, things like that. And another interesting thing about them. I'm playing my hand here, but there'll be plenty more that I'll be going over. Is another thing, and this for a long time I was under the misapprehension that these colonial Pennsylvania tax lists, that the main list where it listed acreage, that definitively meant the person owned that acreage.
Okay.
Whereas really those colonial taxes were based on who was getting the use of the property.
Okay.
So
even tenant farmers.
Tenant farmer, if they're the one that is going to harvest the crop
Right.
and be able to sell the crop, they're the person who's going to be listed, and
Right.
the owner may be absent from the list. So that's like I say, a misapprehension that I had for a long time, and I'm betting that the average genealogist does a lot.
Right. I mean, those are fascinating to me. I'm a Pennsylvanian, native Pennsylvanian. So
Lancaster, right?
Yeah, Lancaster, you bet. So I think we talked about that in episode 12. So I always find, listening to you talk about Pennsylvania records, particularly Pennsylvania German records, because Lancaster is a predominantly Pennsylvania German community, is always pretty fascinating. I think people always get a lot out of that because so many of our families, many ways like Ohio, move through Pennsylvania elsewhere. And so it's another one of those kind of states that I think is great for that. You mentioned the book is the second edition. Is the book going to be available for purchase or pre-order at the conference this year?
I hope to have at least a bit of a mock-up of it and available for pre-order at OGS.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
You may know that the theme of the conference this year is light up your genealogy. What suggestions would you give to somebody attending the conference so that they can actually achieve that vision?
Yeah. Well, certainly to take advantage of as many presentations as you can and network the people in those presentations. Are you going to have tapes of the presentations?
I don't know what that's planned yet. They're still working on the details of that.
Okay. Well, if you do,
at the time that we're recording this,
make it. Yeah. If you do end up having the ability to purchase something like that, that's always good to either go over some of the presentations that you already were in, or the ones that were in the time slot where, as typically happens, you've got 3 different ones that you really want to go to, and you can only physically go to one. So that's a possibility. Take advantage of the other people at the conference. Also work the vendor hall.
Sure.
Because even I encourage people, even if it's what they're selling per se is not of interest, well, talk a little bit to the vendor, because that they're probably there not just to sell things, but also because they have genealogy interest, and you never know who might be a cousin to you, who may know something about that brick wall line that you have.
Right. I know we certainly find cousins there pretty regularly.
Yeah,
so that happens pretty regularly. Well, Jim, thank you for joining me today to talk about the 2025 OGS Conference. It'll be April 30th to May 3rd, 2025 at Kalahari in Sandusky, Ohio. And Jim, I'll see you there.
Okay. Thanks, Noel.
Yep. Have a good day, Jim. Ready to light up your genealogy? Mark your calendars for the Ohio Genealogical Society's annual conference happening April 30th to May 3rd, 2025 at Kalahari Resorts in Sandusky, Ohio. Immerse yourself in inspiring workshops, expert-led sessions, and exciting discoveries that will help you uncover your family's history. Plus, enjoy the perfect blend of learning and relaxation at one of Ohio's favorite destinations. Don't miss out. Visit ogs.org to learn more and to register. That's ogs.org. Come, connect, learn, and ignite your family story. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to Jim's presentations at the 2025 OGS Conference this year. Being a native Pennsylvanian, as we talked about in the episode, I always find Jim's presentations really informative to my own kind of study of my own Pennsylvania roots, and I'm sure you will as well. So thanks to Jim Beidler for joining us today and for sharing with us what he's going to be presenting at the 2025 OGS Conference.
The Ohio Roots Podcast is brought to you by the Ohio Genealogical Society, the premier gateway for discovering your Ohio family history. Hosted by OGS Executive Director Noel Poyer and edited by Luke Poyer. Theme song is Beautiful Ohio, recorded by Bob Stanley and his orchestra in 1944. To learn more about joining the Ohio Genealogical Society, visit www.ogs.org.